Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real Life Enigmas YouTube channel. I'm going to today be reviewing the Greatest Superstars of All Time DVD. I know it was released from the WWE about a year ago now. I've just sat down and watched it, all 3 discs, including the first disc, which is the list of the top 50 superstars of all time, which is apparently compiled by the current day WWE wrestlers. I should also add, cheap plug, it was bought for me by the girlfriend. Thanks, Paula. Add her on Facebook. Here's another cheap plug. Add her on Facebook, Paula space TU. Hold on, I'm trying to spell your name right. TUNKIN. I hope that was right. PAULA space TUNKIN. Beautiful. I think I got it. Might not though. But basically that's what I'm going to be doing today on this blog for Wrestling Vengeance, is reviewing this DVD. Now, don't get me wrong, I think the DVD was fantastic. The best wrestling DVD I've seen so far. But I do have to pick out the flaws because that's what I do. I find the flaws in things. Now, for starters, I do think it's just a little bit of a farce because you'd see that throughout the DVD, Todd Grisham, who was hosting the top 50 superstars of all time, said that the list was compiled by votes from all the current day superstars and divas, and it incorporates all companies, so that might be WWE, WWF, WCW, TNA, Ring of Honor, AWA, anything, that sort of thing, and without bias. So in that mind, it shouldn't matter whether they were in WCW, in WWF, currently in TNA, that sort of thing. And in some instances, that was, on showcase with the likes of Jeff Hardy being in there and that sort of thing. And also not getting along with Vince McMahon, I think, had a lot to do with some of the positions of some of the guys in here, and the fact that some of them were missing. I mean, there was no Goldberg in the list, who's one of the best of all time. There was no Ultimate Warrior, no Sting, no Chris Benoit. There wasn't even Booker T, no Trish Stratus, which I don't know why. These guys are some of the biggest legends in wrestling history, and they couldn't make the list of the top 50 superstars when you've got guys in there, with all due respect, all these guys that were in the top 50, probably do have a right to be there, but not as much of a right as some of these legends. I mean, the likes of Batista, Rey Mysterio, even, Gorgeous George, Killer Kowalski, Nick Bockwinkel. As great as these guys might be, they're not quite, in the caliber of and didn't quite get the stardom of the likes of the Ultimate Warrior, Sting, Goldberg, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, these sort of guys. But that's just my opinion. Now, further this, Hulk Hogan is one of the names that I want to bring up. Now, Hulk Hogan has been listed at number 23. Stone Cold Steve Austin once said this pretty famously. What? Hulk Hogan number 23, are you serious? I mean, the guy might rub up some people the wrong way, sure. He might not be a fantastic in-ring performer, sure. And yeah, his ego is probably bigger than Big Show and Mark Henry's combined weight mass, but he still is the guy in professional wrestling. Always has been and always will be. He's a man that everybody looked up to in the 80s. He was wrestling's first ever rock star, so to speak. And he is the biggest household name in professional wrestling. If you're not a wrestling fan and you hear the name Hulk Hogan, do you know who he is? You know exactly who Hulk Hogan is. He's the one that put professional wrestling on the map. He was the biggest name in the industry for 20 years and potentially, possibly, still is. And he specifically put the WWF, WWE in the map and helped get WCW back over huge as well. So even though personally I'm not a big fan of Hulk Hogan, he is the man that typifies wrestling. He's the one that made wrestling the juggernaut that it is today, and he should be in the top 5 in my opinion. As far as the top 10 goes, I think they were pretty close. Probably Rey Mysterio aside, I think they were pretty close. I mean, obviously everyone's going to have different opinions, and that's the beauty of the beast in wrestling. But I think, there's about 20-30 guys that have a case to be top 10. As for Shawn being number 1, Shawn Michaels, I don't have a complaint there. He's the best in-ring performer of all time. So, there you have it. I have actually compiled a list of my top 20 superstars of all time. I know I said that I do a top 50, but I got a little bit bored. You can probably tell from the way that my head's moving up and down that I'm actually trying to get to my list right now. Now, I will say my number 20... Alright, I'll go from number 20 to number 1. It won't take too long, don't worry. I'm not going to take too much of your time up. Number 20 is, in fact, Jeff Jarrett. I know this is going to create a bit of controversy. The reason I've gone with Jeff Jarrett is he was a big-time singles mid-carder in WWF, and he made his way to the main event by jumping ship to WCW and became, WCW champion there quite a lot. But not just this, not just the fact that, he elevated himself and he knew how to do it, but also the fact that he then went on, after WCW died, he didn't, take the easy route and go back to WWF. He actually created his own company in TNA, and I thought that was, that's something that you gotta respect that. And after Jeff Jarrett, I had Rowdy Roddy Piper. In fact, this is a top 19 list. I just realised that I've gone from number 20 to number 18. There you go. So I'll say number 18 is the Hot Rod Rowdy Roddy Piper, one of the best mic workers of all time. Gotta love it when Rowdy Roddy Piper was fired up. Number 17, John Cena. Love him or hate him, you gotta respect him and everything he's done for the business. Number 16, Mick Foley. I was very surprised at how high he was on the actual list. I'll just bring it up for you now. He was actually number 33 in the actual list, which I thought was outrageous. Number 15, I had Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Phenomenal in-ring performer, phenomenal. Number 14, I had the Nature Boy. Woo! Ric Flair. Son of a gun. Number 13, I had Goldberg. Everybody's favourite in WCW was Goldberg. Number 12, I had Kurt Angle. Now, on the actual list, Kurt Angle was number 34, and I thought this was ridiculously too low for someone with that great charisma, mic skills, in-ring ability. He could work any sort of matchup. Kurt Angle at number 34 was ridiculous, and I think him being in TNA may have had a bit to do with that. Albeit I don't agree with a lot of what's going on in his mind right now. I think he's on the alcohol or on the something, and 24/7 at the moment. Number 11, I had Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero. Number 10, The Game, Triple H. Phenomenal career, Triple H. He's been in some of the biggest stables of all time. D-Generation X, of course. Evolution as well. And he's something like a 13-time world champion. He's just been phenomenal. Great in-ring performer, great worker, great mic user, and he's going to take over the company once Vince passes it on, and I think it's going in the right hands. Number 9, I had the man that actually squashed Triple H at, I think it was WrestleMania 14 or WrestleMania 12. I think it was WrestleMania 12. I always get those two WrestleManias confused, I don't know why. The Ultimate Warrior. Fantastic promo shooter. One of the best of all time. In fact, number 2 of all time. The Ultimate Warrior in terms of promos, in my opinion. Half the time he didn't have a clue what he was saying, but that was, I think, the whole point of it. I don't even think he knew what he was saying half the time. Number 8, I had the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Rest in peace. Fantastic performer, great in the ring. He knew how to work a crowd, he knew how to work a story. He was just unbelievably great. Sting, I had at number 7. The Icon, the Crow, the Scorpion, Sting. I know Michael wants to see Scorpion versus Cobra at WrestleMania one year. You never know. Could happen. The Scorpion Deathlock versus... What was it? The Cobra Deathlock. The Cobra Lock. Scorpion Deathlock versus the Cobra Lock. But yeah, number 7 was Sting. One of the greatest gimmicks of all time. He was also phenomenal in the ring, and I think his mic work has been a little underrated as well, sort of like The Undertaker's. But I thought Sting was just phenomenal. Number 6, I had the Hitman, Bret Hart. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. Sums him up right there, doesn't it? Number 5, I had Hulk Hogan. Now, as I said earlier, this man just put professional wrestling on the map. Love him or hate him, and trust me, I'm not one of his biggest fans at all. Not at all. The colours red and yellow make me sick sometimes. But he was the guy that made wrestling the iconic juggernaut that it is today. And Hulk Hogan is the one that we have to thank for that. Whether you like him or not, you've got to respect the guy. The superhero persona that he played throughout the 80s and the early 90s. It had everybody talking. Hulk Hogan is a household name in wrestling and just in general. And people that don't even follow wrestling, they knew the name Hulk Hogan, and they still know the name Hulk Hogan. And when he turned heel in WCW and formed the NWO, that was one of the biggest events in wrestling history. And he showed that he can play a heel just as well as he can play a face. Number 4, I have Stone Cold Steve Austin. I thought Stone Cold Steve Austin was arguably the face of the Attitude Era. Stone Cold, he had it all. And he was the man that, whether it was intentional or not, he was the man that started the Attitude Era with that promo that he cut after he won the King of the Ring on Jake the Snake Roberts about Austin 316. And that's also started the Austin 316 gimmick, which then later turned into a massive rivalry with the boss and the owner of the World Wrestling Federation, Vince McMahon. So I had Stone Cold at number 4 in my list. I should just let you know some of his accolades. 6-time WWF champion, 2-time Intercontinental champion, 4-time Tag Team champion, King of the Ring winner, 2-time Royal Rumble winner, and he's been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame already. That was in 2009. And it's fair to say, Eric Bischoff made the biggest mistake in wrestling history when he fired Stone Cold from WCW. Number 3, I had my personal favourite of all time, The Rock. My childhood hero was The Rock. Hell, my hero still is The Rock in some way. What's there to say? In an era where, he was competing with the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Triple H, Mankind, Kurt Angle, as well as all the stars in WCW, because this is when the Monday Night Wars were going on between WCW and WWF. The Rock, in my mind, was the guy. He had the charisma. He was electrifying in the ring. He is the greatest mic worker in wrestling history. He was a fantastic face and just knew how to be one of the most hated guys as well. He was a great heel. He's now a megastar in Hollywood. The way he can work a crowd regardless of whether he was, a fan favourite or a bad guy was nothing short of amazing. And speaking of short, being able to become a 9-time world champion, a 2-time Intercontinental champion, 5-time Tag Team champion, the 6th Triple Crown champion ever, and winner of the 2000 Royal Rumble match in the space of about 6 years is something to behold. The Rock, my ultimate favourite, but I'm trying to make an unbiased list here, so I had him listed at number 3. The Brahma Bull, the Great One, the People's Champion, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. He's all those names for a reason. Number 2, I had the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Mr. WrestleMania, the main event, the showstopper, the icon, the Heartbreak Kid, the guy without question is right up there as one of the top guys in professional wrestling. He's the best in-ring performer we've ever seen, and probably will see. Those that measure, the likes of Daniel Bryan and CM Punk to Shawn Michaels, while they might be good wrestlers, and in CM Punk's case a great wrestler, not so in Daniel Bryan's case, but in CM Punk's case a great wrestler, they're not Shawn Michaels. We will never see another Shawn Michaels. He can put on 5-star matches from all bases, whether it's technical, brawling, hardcore, whatever. He can put on a 5-star match. And whether he's facing Hornswoggle, he can make that a 5-star match. Along with this, Shawn was brilliant on the microphone, and even when he wasn't on the mic, or in the ring, he could still make us entertained. Perfect example is just after the Montreal screw job with Bret Hart. They were in Canada. Puts the Canadian flag up his nose. I was entertained. I was in hysterics. I was laughing. I mean, to all Canadian fans, I hope that didn't break your heart. But as well as all of this, one note that not many people here have really brought up is the fact that Shawn came in an era that had to pick up from where Hulkamania and that sort of era left off. When Hogan, Warrior, Macho Man, and those sort of guys were gone, and Shawn came in. He still had the likes of Bret Hart, The Undertaker, Triple H, and these sort of guys. Triple H was only just coming up then at this stage. But Vince always looked at Shawn as the go-to guy, much like he does with Cena today, and he did with Stone Cold and The Rock in the Attitude Era. Shawn was his go-to guy, and Shawn never failed him. And so that's why Shawn Michaels is my number 2. Number 1 for me is the Phenom, the Dead Man, the man from Death Valley, The Undertaker. Now, hear me out. The reason that The Undertaker is my number 1 of all time, in my opinion, he's the greatest big man in wrestling history. He has the greatest gimmick in wrestling history. Now, today we don't see much in the way of great gimmicks, and if we do, they don't last very long. But from 1990 through to today, still going, The Undertaker and his Dead Man gimmick have been going strong, and he's always been either really, really loved or really, really hated. And hated is because of the way that he worked his character. And the way that he worked his character was just brilliant as a face or a heel. The Lord of Darkness, when he started the Ministry of Darkness in the Attitude Era, that's what got me hooked onto The Undertaker. He's created the Buried Alive match, and then made the Hell in a Cell famous by throwing Mankind off and through the cell, as well as throwing Rikishi off a couple of years later. The Undertaker, he's one of the biggest icons in professional wrestling. We all know the great achievements on The Undertaker's list. He's got plenty. He's got his 7 World Heavyweight Champion reigns. He's had a hardcore title reign, 6 tag team title reigns. 7 tag team title reigns. Left out the WCW title reign. He's won the Royal Rumble, but none of these come close to his number 1 achievement, and that is his WrestleMania winning streak. Unprecedented, never going to be touched again. This winning streak, I don't think some people understand how huge this is. Sure, wrestling might be scripted, but people do not realize how amazing this winning streak is. For anybody watching this video that isn't aware, The Undertaker is 20-0 at WrestleMania. That's 20 wins and 0 losses. He's yet to lose a match at WrestleMania. Now, there have been 27 WrestleManias in the past. The Undertaker has competed in 20 of them, and he has won every single time. Been victorious every single time. That's an achievement and a half. And just to name some of the guys that he's beaten on the biggest stage of them all: Triple H twice, going for a 3rd time this year. Shawn Michaels twice, Kane twice, Diesel, Ric Flair, Psycho Sid, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Giant Gonzalez. He's beaten Jake the Snake Roberts. He's beaten the best of the best on the biggest stage of them all. And he's gone through different matches. He's beaten Randy Orton, Batista as well, Edge. He beat Edge. Sorry, for those that aren't aware, personal hatred between myself and Edge. He took my man's girl. he's going to pay. Anyways, you know, he's won in all sorts of different matches, including casket matches, handicap matches, no holds barred matches, and he's already won, you know, and will be competing in this year. Hell in a Cell match. Girlfriend's calling. This isn't part of the act. Hello? Hey, how are ya? I'm great. I'm just doing my video at the moment. Okay, no worries. I'll speak to you later, okay? Okay, I love you. Bye. So, yes, what was I saying? Yeah, he'll be in a Hell in a Cell match again this year as well. And I look forward to seeing, you know, how it goes. That's thrown me off a little bit. That's okay. She's the one that bought me the DVD. Alright guys, so that's it. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can, at Sean Effect Brand. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, The Real Life Enigma, and don't forget to join WrestlingVengeance.com. Till next time, take care. I'm out.